Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and I'm going to be working with the Painted Garden collection from page 27 of my 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. And we're going to use so many scraps. It's going to be fun. Here it is, page 27 in our book. I have written down my mats and a couple of larger mats that I'm using for this layout. I also have turned this into a double page layout, and I am actually going to be using 8 1.5-inch wide strips, but they are varying lengths because most of them were scraps that I found and I cut off randomly from pieces of paper I found in my stash that I cut diamonds out of for tulips, and just all kinds of scraps. What can I say? So this one is definitely going to be a great scrap buster, especially if you have this collection, or you can use it really with any collection you would like. I am, however, going to be using dark green cardstock as the base of our layout. We're going to start on the left side of our layout. And remember how I said I had 8 pieces of paper, 8 strips that are 1.25 inches wide? Well, varying lengths is right because, like I said, I just had so many different papers I'd used from this collection, and it just worked out that way. So I have hummingbirds with the seagrass or the grass on the back. How's about I flip these as I go? I don't know. I don't want to confuse myself either. We'll hold on a minute to flip them. I'll tell you what papers I'm using first. This is the one with the stripes and the sunshines. The wood sections or trunk sections that were green with the ombre kind of floral on the back. This one is the orange and pink watercolor-ish with the orange tile look on the back. This one is the opposite of this one. So I have the wood on one side and that ombre look on the other. This is that yellow linen that I used also in my other Painted Garden layout that has the white with the tile diamonds on the back. Another stripe here with the sunshines on the back, and then the dark pink that has the pink watercolor-ish look on the back. So it's all going to make sense. Once I'm going to get these flipped and get tape on them, and I'll be back with you in a minute. All right, so we are going to start at this right corner here, and I'm going to go ahead and anchor in this pink geometric paper here. And then we are going to give it, you could see when I was stacking them, you just wind up with about 1/4 inch or so in between these pieces. I'm just going to double check it here a little bit loosely because number 8 does need to fit on the page. Actually, why don't we go ahead and put our hummingbirds down at our page edge over here on the left side of the left page. There we go. And now the rest of these look like they are going to fit in pretty well with about 1/4 inch in between. How's about that? Isn't it nice when things work out the way you think they're supposed to or going to? It's a little bit harder sometimes designing some of these when you can't stick anything down and then you have papers moving all over the place. And so I usually have a pretty good idea it's going to work, but I don't actually know until I get into it and start sticking things down when I'm filming with all of you. So I'm glad when it usually does work out. I think that one went a little bit crooked. Yep. Fix that one just a little bit. There we go. All right. We're getting there. Okay, and last one. So you know what, it's okay. I've got a little more space on this left side. I might be a little closer on the right side than on the left, but it's okay. It's paper, it's scrapbooking, it's not rocket science, it's fine. And we're going to move on. I have a sheet of the green paper that has these pink flowers kind of floating through it. It's not really a directional paper at all. It has the dandelion tufts on the back of it, the white with the tan. And this is 6 inches by 11 inches. And this definitely was inspired by the sketch. I will show you all the sketch again after I get both sides put together. But we're going to bring this in about a 1/2 inch from the edge, and you can see I'm just barely above my lowest point, which are those striped papers. And then we're going to center it. You can get out your 0 centering ruler if you want. I am not going to this time. There. I think it looks reasonably straight. I'm about a 1/2 inch in and about 1 inch down from the top is what it looks like it wound up being. And then I have 2 4x6 mats that are going to go up here. And so we kind of have these sneaking in under, and these other ones are going to be over. This is the one that has the really pretty bumblebee and hummingbird paper with the ladybugs and what have you on it. I guess I did get a minute there. I wasn't sure I actually got tape right there. But these are going to go up here, so that way we are kind of bringing it all the way up and through our page here, just keeping that linear motion going. And then I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I struggle using these really large embellishments on a page. Well, hey, look at that. I found a page to use the big tree on. And I also found a orange lined journal box in our embellishment pack as well. So we're going to make use of both of these on our page. Let me actually grab the repositionable to kind of shore up some of these edges a little bit for this one. And get our trunk. There we go. Here we go. Look at this. Beautiful. The perfect layout for using an embellishment like this. Because we, alas, will have just the 2 photos on the side of the page. Now, you don't have to add your big tree. You can put another photo down here if you wish. Completely up to you and how it'll work for your pages. But for me, this is the left side of my page. And now let's put together the right side of the page. We're starting again with the pink and then the ombre floral, and I've got the grasses. I gotta make sure I don't put that one upside down. We are going to use the side with the butterfly, ladybug, bumblebees, that pretty paper. The yellow linen look. You know what? This one looks like it's 1 inch and not quite 1.25 inches, but that's okay. It's still going to work on our page. And that's just also to show you can use what scraps you have. It just so happened I had a 1 inch strip. So that's what I used. These are all, the rest of them are 1 1/4. What can I say? So I had 15 1 1/4 inch and 1 inch strip. All right, let me get tape runner on these. And, you know, I didn't just magic up this layout and design. I did actually work with these strips and found ones that worked well in a pattern together. And I had like I said, I had those lateral horizontal stripes on the other side, but I've got different pieces on this side, but I'm anchoring it again on the outer edge with the hummingbird paper and the pink magenta tile, if you will, on this left side, so that when you look at it, the 2 pinks are together and then the 2 hummingbirds are on the outside. And I will bring back in my other page so you can see that as well. About 1/4 inch. going across my page here. That top does not look quite straight, so I'm going to flip my paper because it's not directional. And I know my upper piece is going to cover that. And you can see here I've got the stripes, but I've got the stripes running vertically instead of horizontally on this paper because, again, scraps, using up those scraps. And also I did think about the placement of this one. I did go with the lighter end down on this piece. This one actually, I think I can get away with flipping it so we have that yellow flower showing a little bit more on the bottom. We might cover it up. We probably are going to cover it up, but let's go ahead and do that just for giggles today. This is my directional paper with the kind of grasses or I don't know, feathers maybe coming up. But that's our pattern for the bottom of our page. And look at this. I've got another 6" by 11" piece of that green paper that had the pink flowers going through it. That is not super directional, but we're going to be able to bring it down to cover up how uneven our pieces actually are. It's going to be about 1 inch down from the top of the paper again. There we go. And then this side, I do have 3 photo mats. We're going to put the 2 in the top again. And we have our one for the bottom here. So this is where, like what I was saying, instead of doing the tree, you can do a 3rd photo on that other side as well. Let's flip these. Let's do this. And I just thought that the pink side really worked better. I mean, this side with the florals and the bumblebees is beautiful, beautiful paper for a different layout. With this one, having just that solidish color with the floral on it, is what works a little bit better. I mean, you can kind of see it's more, what do you notice when you look at this? You notice the paper and the design on the paper. You don't notice the rest of it. But when I flick them, then you notice, hey, she created a design out of some strips on the bottom there. And you see it all come together a little bit better. It's not as distracting. It's a little more put together, if you will. And then I also found this tree stump. And I found a sticker that says Best Day on it that fits perfectly in this space. Of course, you can always put, a name if you have photos with a person in it that you want to put their name on your tree stump instead, or, maybe carve some initials using one of your pens. I mean, using the air quotes on that one. It's hard to tell when I'm, not facing you, but let's get this tree stump down. Okay. Put just a little bit of regular tape runner as well there. Here is our stump, and that is the right side of our page. I'm going to bring in the other side, and then I also will have a note on my sheet that I wanted to look at possibly using some gems on here as well, because we do have gems in our embellishment pack for this collection. And I thought I might want to use some of them. So there you go. There's our 2 pages together. You can see just how that, since our tree has those light and dark pinks, using the pink really just, like I said, it just brings it all together. Whereas that other paper, like I said, beautiful, but I think it just a little distracting if you have one of those yellow flowers just shining out at you. Here is our sketch again. And you can see where they just have a whole bunch of, they did, what did they do? 1.5 by 5 inch, perfectly lined up strips across, but they did also do this extra different paper inside, and that's kind of what made me think of it doing this. It's kind of half framed, and then you have the strips. And so I actually look, I followed the sketch a bit. Hey, I do that from time to time. Did I follow the sizing? No, I didn't. But I like giving you all ideas of other things you can do from the sketches. So that's kind of one of my things. If you're one of my card makers that watches my channel, you are in luck. I am going to be doing 2 cards with our scraps from this collection. Again, I just had quite a few. I have cut this one to 4 inches by 5.5. I cut my card base down just a little bit using one of my blank cards from my card kit, and the opposite of that pink paper, I had an extra mat. But for this one, we're going to use the pretty side with the bumblebees and the hummingbirds and the florals on it. Just reinforcing my edges a little bit, so that way when people go to, or whoever the recipient goes to open this card, it's not going to flap around on them at all. Get that lined up nicely. There we go. And then I have some more of that green paper with the pink florals that we used for the top part of our layout a minute ago. And I've cut, what did I cut? 1/2-inch strips. And I didn't necessarily measure because these are, did I do it? Yeah, no, we're just going to use our scissors on this one. We're freestyling here a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and add these 1/2-inch strips to our card and create a little bit of a frame around our pretty paper here. So we're going to do the top and the bottom first. And then we will grab the scissors and cut off the excess here. Oops, I went a little bit off my, because I was trying to show my hummingbird just a little bit more. But I need to make sure I also stay on the card. Flip it over, grab your microtip scissors, and cut. Oops. And don't pull off your entire strip like Catherine here. Get on. Why do I keep doing that crooked? I don't know. I'm going to have to do it from this end. There you go. Okay, using the table a little bit to help me on that one. Just goes to show you, even when you think you have it lined up, you might not quite have it all the way lined up. So I just cut off those 2 edges we had running over, and now we're going to take our other 2 strips and finish framing it out. Looks like it was a little bit crooked in that cut. Best thing about paper crafting, scissors will fix anything. Here we go. And you definitely don't want to go all the way down your entire strip because these are a little bit too long. For our card, we can always add a little bit of extra repositionable tape after. And that's okay too, but I'm going to do this right away. And then that way I know I'm not going to be crooked. There we go. Using the table to help me out. And then go ahead and just trim that piece off. And I'm not keeping those. I know it's okay. I've used a lot of strips today, or a lot of scraps anyways. And so this is kind of almost creating a little bit of a rustic frame, if you will, for our pretty paper that designers made for us. Look at that. Just a really beautiful all-purpose card that we framed with our green paper. Simple as that. And then I'm going to take and pull in a few of our gems from our embellishment pack. And we're going to add gems to the corners and just really bling it out just a little bit more. Here we go. All done. Card number 1. What do y'all think? Card number 2. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit of a tricky one. I've kind of laid my papers out to the side here. I had just some extras, again, scraps. I don't even know if I cut any of these. These are different widths. It looks like some are 1.5 inches, some are 1 inch. I might have 1.25 inches in there. I honestly don't care. I'm just happy to use up some scraps and give you all an idea of how to use these and not really be too worried about what size they are. We're going to make something pretty out of them. I did pull out a piece of my dark green cardstock and cut 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of it to layer for the base of this layout. I also did pull a border sticker, the hummingbird border sticker. Since we have hummingbirds in our paper, it was this one is what we're going to use as well. And you're going to see we're going to be using our scissors. Definitely, you really do want your microtip scissors for this because we will be cutting through some tape and you don't want your scissors to get goopy. And these have that coating on them so they don't get goopy. Okay. So I'm kind of eyeballing it on which corners to avoid with my tape. I mean, you don't have to make it hard on yourself here. But let's go ahead and start putting down our strips at an angle. And we're just going for it here about maybe 1/8 inch in between. I am trying to follow the same lines here at the same diagonal, if you will. If we need to touch anything up with the more of the repositionable tape, we can coming up. So again, following that angle. There you are, card here. Oops, and here's this last one. Oh, good. We are going to get a little bit of green on each side of it as well. So there you have it. I mean, kind of close together, about that 1/8 inch. I'm going to hold it closer so that way y'all can see where we're at with how I placed those strips on that paper. I did have my 2 shorter ones on the ends, and I have 3. They're about the same height through the middle. Flip it, and we're going to clip it. There you go. Let me just run make sure I don't have any paper stuck to my scissors and those away. Let's go ahead and get our scraps taken care of. All right. And now we are going to run our sticker right through the center of our card. And we're probably going to, we're going to go ahead and cut it here. Oops, let me get my scissors back out. Forgot I needed my scissors. Goodness. And we're going to round this end just a little bit because the other end is a little bit rounded as well. And that again will also make it look like it's more intentional. So you can, let's see if I can show you all what I did. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see here. Can you see where I rounded that just a little bit? Hopefully. I got that close enough so you can see that. Pull off your sticker, and we're just going to run this right through the center of our card. Got another bird here, so I'm going to actually cover up part of our other hummingbird. There we go. Anchoring our diagonals. You can leave it without the sticker on if you wish, but I just thought that adding that extra little bit of color and interest to our card, it's going to be an all-purpose card, a thinking of you card, a any occasion card to send to a friend, just a blank card. Could even be a thank you card, but something a little different. And using up a bunch of scraps. So what do y'all think of this one? You have to let me know which card you like better. If you can't pick, you don't have to pick. That's okay too. That's all for our layout and cards from page 27 of our scrapbooking ideas and sketchbook. Until next time.